Imagine learning that certain nuts, consumed regularly throughout your life, are presently compromising your cognitive vitality. And suppose a simple dietary adjustment could extend your years of clear thinking. Frankly, I seldom create messages with such directness, but witnessing my own father's cognitive struggles compelled me to speak out. Please listen carefully, as I will unveil the specific morning practice that is aiding numerous older adults in restoring their mental sharpness, a secret the processed food conglomerates prefer you never discover. It's crucial to grasp a profound truth few discuss as we mature. Our physiological systems handle foods, particularly nuts, in new ways. What provided nourishment in your 40s or 50s might pose challenges in your 60s, 70s, or even 80s. This isn't about food intolerances or allergies. It's a fundamental metabolic alteration occurring with age, significantly impacting how we process specific lipid compounds found in certain nut varieties. Research supporting this has steadily surfaced over the last 10 years, yet it seldom grabs public attention because, candidly, there's little financial incentive in advising people to limit particular foods. The health food sector encourages indiscriminate purchasing. However, I'm here to convey what your physician likely hasn't. For seniors especially, careful nut choice profoundly influences brain wellness, cardiovascular integrity, and overall life expectancy. What you are about to discover transformed my family's experience, and I am convinced it can do likewise for you or those you care about. A personal turning point. About 36 months ago, my father began experiencing memory lapses. Minor incidents, initially misplacing his glasses, forgetting a colleague's name, or the current day. We dismissed them as ordinary, senior moments. He was 75, after all. But then came the morning he found me, bewildered about preparing his daily coffee, a ritual he'd performed for 5 decades. That was the moment I realized a serious issue was unfolding. Medical professionals conducted evaluations, spoke of typical age-related cognitive decline, and offered minimal optimism beyond medications with side effects that appeared more problematic than the condition itself. I couldn't accept that this intelligent man, who had established his own company, nurtured 3 children, and could once effortlessly recite verse, was fated to lose his mental faculties incrementally. Consequently, I immersed myself in extensive research, consulting with longevity experts and neurologists operating outside conventional medical paradigms. My findings regarding the link between particular foods and neural irritation, especially concerning nuts, a long-standing component of my father's supposedly heart-beneficial diet, were transformative. An unacknowledged risk. This is what many fail to grasp. Not all nuts offer equal benefits, and some may actually hasten cognitive deterioration in older individuals due to their distinct lipid profiles and pro-inflammatory characteristics. The first nut seniors should handle with awareness is the cashew. Though enjoyable and seemingly harmless, cashews possess one of the highest carbohydrate levels among nuts, potentially leading to disruptive blood sugar surges in older adults whose natural insulin responsiveness has diminished. These glucose fluctuations are directly associated with heightened mental fog and progressive cognitive impairment. Furthermore, cashews harbor oxalates, substances that can foster inflammation in susceptible individuals, notably those over 67, whose bodily cleansing systems operate less effectively than before. This inflammation doesn't remain confined to the digestive tract. It circulates systemically and can impact brain structures, contributing to cognitive decline often mistaken for mere aging. Yet, there's nothing mere about losing your cherished recollections, your unique character, your very essence. An unforeseen danger. The second nut on our cautionary list might come as a surprise: peanuts. While botanically legumes, not tree nuts, peanuts pose several risks for seniors prioritizing cognitive wellness. Firstly, they are a frequent carrier of aflatoxins, microscopic poisons from fungi that can colonize peanuts. With age, our capacity to eliminate these toxins wanes, enabling their buildup and potential contribution to neurological strain. Studies indicate correlations between sustained aflatoxin exposure and cognitive deficits, especially in seniors with already weakened immune defenses. Moreover, peanuts exhibit an unbalanced omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acid ratio, which tends to encourage inflammation rather than alleviate it. For the aging brain, already contending with natural inflammatory pressures, this extra inflammatory burden from a regular peanut habit can accelerate cognitive difficulties. I observed my father having trouble recalling his grandchildren's names while consuming peanuts daily as his wholesome snack. The association became undeniable, a subtle detriment. The third nut older adults should re-evaluate is the Brazil nut, with a significant qualification. Although Brazil nuts are exceptional repositories of selenium, a vital antioxidant crucial for brain function, their advantage rapidly turns into a drawback with excessive intake. Just a couple of Brazil nuts can supply more than your total daily selenium requirement. For seniors consuming them by the handful regularly, this can result in selenium overload, with symptoms like nausea, agitation, and, in pronounced cases, nerve impairment that can resemble early signs of dementia. I've encountered meaning older adults incorporating Brazil nuts into their daily diet, unaware they are potentially exceeding safe selenium levels. The cognitive consequences of this surplus can be particularly perplexing, as they often manifest as memory difficulties or mood alterations, issues commonly ascribed to just getting on in years instead of a rectifiable dietary imbalance. This is especially troubling because these symptoms are seldom linked back to what appears to be such a healthy food. A startling hazard. The fourth nut demanding prudence might be the most debated on this list: non-organic almonds. While almonds intrinsically provide significant advantages, the issue arises from the processing of commercially cultivated almonds. In numerous regions, most are subjected to chemical applications and fumigation methods that leave residues which seniors' aging detoxification mechanisms find hard to process effectively. These chemical loads can contribute to what brain specialists now term accumulated toxin effect, a condition where aggregated environmental poisons start to impair cognitive abilities. Seniors are especially susceptible as their protective neural shield blood-brain barrier becomes more porous with age, granting these toxins easier passage to sensitive brain tissue. Additionally, conventionally farmed almonds frequently contain greater amounts of inflammatory omega-6 fatty acids due to contemporary agricultural techniques, introducing another potential trigger for brain inflammation. When my father transitioned from conventional to organic, genuinely unprocessed almonds as a component of his brain wellness plan, we observed enhancements in his mental acuity within a few weeks, an outcome his physicians had deemed improbable. A crucial change. Now, let's discuss transformation. When my father started to exclude these problematic nuts and incorporate the 4 brain-enhancing alternatives I'm about to reveal, we observed developments the medical community had deemed unachievable. His mental haze began to clear, his memory failures grew less common, his distinct personality, that vital spark defining an individual, started to resurface. The physician who had informed us this decline was merely an aspect of aging could not account for the improvements in his cognitive evaluations half a year afterward. But we understood. We had uncovered what pioneering neurologists and longevity researchers are only now beginning to comprehend: that particular foods exert specific influences on the aging brain, and making strategic dietary swaps can genuinely alter the course of cognitive aging. This isn't about magical solutions. It's about collaborating with your body's evolving biochemistry to provide your brain precisely what it requires while sidestepping harmful elements. Timeless knowledge. Intriguingly, much of what contemporary nutritional science is revealing about cognitive wellness was recognized in ancient healing systems centuries past. In traditional Eastern health philosophies, certain nuts were specifically recommended for elders to preserve what they termed mental vitality, essentially cognitive sharpness and spirit. The pattern of recommended nuts closely mirrors what modern research is verifying regarding anti-inflammatory agents and brain-specific nutrients. Likewise, traditional Indian wellness practices classified nuts based on their effects on the aging physique, with suggestions that align remarkably well with current insights about which nuts bolster neurological health in seniors. It appears our forebears intuitively grasped connections that we are only now validating through scientific inquiry. This fusion of age-old wisdom with state-of-the-art research underpins the advice I am about to offer. Advice that assisted my father in regaining cognitive capacity when mainstream medicine provided no solutions. Cognitive revitalization. Allow me to present the first brain-supporting nut that ought to be a daily essential for every senior concerned about cognitive well-being: walnuts. There's a valid reason these nuts visually echo miniature brains. They are nature's ideal sustenance for mental acuity. Walnuts boast the highest concentration of alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, a plant-derived omega-3 fatty acid among all nuts. This particular omega-3 variant has been proven to traverse the protective neural shield efficiently, nourishing brain tissue and fostering the creation of new neural pathways, even in mature brains once considered relatively static in their structure. A significant study from a prominent West Coast University research center showed that walnut intake specifically corresponded with enhanced cognitive test scores in seniors, irrespective of other variables. Moreover, walnuts are rich in potent antioxidants that help counteract free radical damage in brain cells, damage that escalates notably as we age. When my father began including just about 7 walnuts daily, we saw improvements in his verbal expression and recall in a matter of weeks. Research indicates this was not coincidental, but his brain reacting to exactly what it was missing: cellular defense. The second nut that merits a lasting spot in every senior's dietary plan is the pecan. Frequently eclipsed by more fashionable choices, pecans harbor unique antioxidant types known as proanthocyanidins, which have shown extraordinary efficacy in safeguarding aging brain cells. These compounds exhibit a special attraction to neural tissue, helping to protect delicate brain structures from the oxidative stress that hastens cognitive deterioration. What renders pecans particularly beneficial for seniors is their substantial vitamin E content, a nutrient that becomes progressively more vital for brain health after age 67. Numerous long-term studies have established that adequate vitamin E intake is strongly linked with preserved cognitive ability in later life. Yet, a vast majority of older adults are deficient in this critical nutrient. Pecans also provide monounsaturated fats that promote healthy circulation, crucial for supplying oxygen and nutrients to the brain. When my father incorporated a small serving of pecans into his morning regimen alongside walnuts, his neurologist observed enhancements in his information processing speed that defied all predictions for someone with his initial assessment. Memory enhancement. The third nut deserving acknowledgement for its exceptional brain protective qualities is the pistachio. These uniquely hued green nuts possess compounds that specifically bolster vascular integrity, which is critically important since robust blood vessels are fundamental for cognitive performance. The synergy of antioxidants, B-group vitamins, and specific plant substances in pistachios aids in preserving the soundness of the minute blood vessels that nourish brain tissue. As we mature, these tiny vessels frequently suffer damage from processes like glycation and oxidation, culminating in diminished cerebral blood flow and the unseen microinfarctions that significantly contribute to cognitive decline. Consistent pistachio consumption has been linked to better blood lipid markers and improved vasodilation, the capacity of blood vessels to widen effectively to ensure optimal blood delivery precisely where required. Furthermore, pistachios supply lutein and zeaxanthin, carotenoids typically linked with ocular health, but now understood for their contribution to maintaining cognitive function too. The brain-eye linkage is profound, and these nutrients concurrently support both systems. Neurological asset. The fourth nut that completes our brain supportive protocol is possibly the most undervalued in Western dietary understanding, the unassuming pine nut. These petite, tapered nuts have been esteemed in traditional healing systems for eons, specifically for their impact on brain wellness and cognitive endurance. Contemporary research substantiates our ancestors' insights. Pine nuts offer exceptional quantities of panolenic acid, an uncommon fatty acid that assists in managing inflammation via multiple mechanisms. For seniors whose brain inflammation typically escalates with age, this inherent anti-inflammatory action can be profoundly beneficial. Pine nuts also contribute significant amounts of manganese, a mineral indispensable for mitochondrial activity in brain cells. Mitochondria are your cell's energy generators, and their performance naturally wanes with age, but appropriate nutrition can markedly decelerate this decline. During my father's path to recovery, incorporating just 1 tablespoon of pine nuts daily into his diet coincided with discernible improvements in his energy levels and mental stamina. He could maintain focus for longer periods without experiencing mental exhaustion, a frequent hurdle in cognitive impairment. Morning practice. Now, permit me to outline the precise morning practice that revolutionized my father's cognitive well-being, a straightforward routine anyone can adopt, irrespective of cooking prowess or time availability. It's not intricate, and that is precisely its strength. The most effective strategies are frequently the most maintainable. Each morning he mixes 1 tablespoon each of freshly ground walnuts, pecans, pistachios, and pine nuts, what we now term his 4-nut cognitive blend. He incorporates this blend into organic, unflavored yogurt, along with a teaspoon of premium honey, locally sourced and raw, if feasible, and a light dusting of Ceylon cinnamon, which itself has impressive research supporting its benefits for brain health. This simple concoction furnishes his aging brain with the exact nutrients required to combat inflammation, foster new neural connections, safeguard existing structures, and optimize cerebral blood flow. The yogurt's beneficial bacteria support intestinal health, which studies increasingly demonstrate is directly linked to brain performance via the intestinal-cerebral connection. The entire preparation requires less than 3 minutes yet yields advantages that persist throughout the day: steady energy, enhanced recall, improved mood regulation, and progressively, the recovery of cognitive abilities we had been informed were irretrievably lost. Scientific underpinning. I wish to be entirely candid about the science supporting these suggestions, because comprehending the why is as vital as knowing the what. The brain protective benefits of the nuts I've endorsed arise from several mechanisms functioning in concert. Firstly, they all contribute complementary antioxidants that assist in neutralizing the free radical damage which significantly accelerates in the aging brain. Secondly, they supply specific fatty acids that act as foundational elements for neural membranes and myelin sheaths, the protective insulation around nerve fibers that often degrades with age. Thirdly, they contain compounds that regulate neuroinflammation through various biochemical routes, tackling one of the primary catalysts of cognitive decline. Fourthly, they furnish nutrients that promote healthy cerebrovascular activity, guaranteeing optimal blood supply to brain tissues. And fifthly, they possess compounds demonstrated to encourage neuroplasticity, the brain's capacity to forge new connections and adapt, once believed to diminish considerably with age, but now recognized as remaining active throughout life with adequate support. This holistic strategy addresses not merely a single facet of brain aging, but the entire interconnected system. Beyond data, what I'm conveying transcends research articles and clinical studies, although those certainly confirm our methodology. The genuine validation emerged from observing my father progressively regain his sense of self. Half a year after adopting these dietary modifications, he phoned me one morning, thrilled to recount a dream he'd experienced, a dream in which he recalled childhood details with absolute clarity. I believed those memories had vanished forever, he confided, his voice trembling, but they were merely waiting for me to rediscover them. 3 months thereafter, he independently recollected all his grandchildren's birth dates, information that had been entirely beyond his reach a year prior. At his subsequent cognitive checkup, his physician was so astonished by the improvements that he requested a comprehensive account of everything we had altered. When we detailed our protocol, he was initially doubtful but could not refute the results evident in the assessments. Whatever you're engaged in, he eventually conceded, continue with it. Now, 2 years on, my father facilitates a brain wellness support circle in his locality, sharing his experiences and assisting other seniors in adopting these same approaches. The man who once struggled to recall how to make coffee now remembers intricate details from medical publications he reads to remain current on brain health. A societal oversight. There is something deeply unsettling about our societal approach to cognitive decline in older adults. We have accepted memory loss, confusion, and reduced mental acuity as simply a part of growing older, as if losing one's cognitive faculties is an unavoidable consequence of a long life. This defeatist perspective benefits no one, except perhaps sectors that gain from dependence and deterioration. The reality emerging from leading-edge research in neuroplasticity and nutritional neuroscience presents a markedly different account, that significant elements of cognitive decline may be avoidable and, in certain instances, partially reversible through targeted nutritional strategies and lifestyle adjustments. While genetic predispositions and accumulated life factors undeniably contribute, the brain's astounding capacity to adapt and react to suitable nourishment persists well into our later years. This isn't to deny the existence of conditions like Alzheimer's or vascular dementia. It's about acknowledging that within the spectrum of cognitive aging, we possess far greater influence than previously understood. My father's journey serves as tangible evidence that accepting cognitive decline as inescapable does a profound injustice to countless seniors who could benefit from interventions as straightforward as altering their daily nut consumption. Implementation insights. Allow me to now discuss some practical considerations for enacting these changes, because knowledge without action yields no results. Firstly, quality is paramount. Choose organic varieties of these nuts whenever feasible, particularly for walnuts and pecans, which are among the crops most intensively subjected to pesticides. Secondly, freshness is vital. The beneficial oils in nuts are fragile and can turn rancid upon prolonged exposure to heat, light, and air. Purchase nuts in modest amounts, keep them in airtight containers in the refrigerator, and contemplate freezing portions you won't consume within 4 weeks. Thirdly, activating. Nuts by soaking can substantially enhance nutrient accessibility. Simply steeping nuts in filtered water for several hours, e.g., overnight, neutralizes enzyme disruptors that can impede digestion and nutrient uptake, especially crucial for seniors whose digestive power has naturally lessened. Fourthly, grinding nuts just prior to eating ensures maximal nutrient integrity and improved digestibility. A basic coffee grinder dedicated solely to nuts makes this task swift and straightforward. And fifthly, regularity is more important than volume. Small, consistent daily intakes provide more advantage than larger quantities eaten erratically. Addressing common fallacies. Before proceeding, I must tackle some prevalent misunderstandings that might hinder individuals from effectively adopting these suggestions. Firstly, the belief that all nuts are nutritionally identical. As we've explored, the distinct nutrient compositions and compounds in various nuts exert markedly different influences on the aging brain. Secondly, the mistaken idea that raw nuts are invariably superior to roasted ones. While raw nuts retain certain heat, labile nutrients, gentle roasting can actually improve the absorption of other compounds. The crucial factor is to sidestep high-heat commercial roasting techniques. Thirdly, the notion that organic certification is only important for fruits and vegetables, not nuts. In truth, the substantial oil content in nuts makes them particularly adept at absorbing and concentrating pesticides, rendering organic choices significantly better for cognitive wellness. Fourthly, the assumption that nut allergies render all these benefits unattainable. Many individuals with allergies to specific nuts can safely consume others from distinct botanical groups. And fifthly, the misconception that these nutritional methods are somehow contradictory to conventional medical attention. In reality, they augment appropriate medical care, and any senior experiencing cognitive issues should collaborate with healthcare professionals while employing nutritional strategies. A deeper understanding. What makes these particular dietary adjustments so effective is their precise targeting of the unique challenges faced by the aging brain. As we enter our senior years, several critical physiological shifts occur that are not sufficiently addressed by generalized nutritional counsel. The protective neural shield blood-brain barrier becomes more permeable, permitting more toxins and inflammatory agents to access neural tissue. Mitochondrial performance diminishes, lessening the energy available to brain cells. The production of acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter vital for memory and learning, decreases notably. Neuroinflammation rises through various pathways, and perhaps most critically, brain tissues grow more susceptible to oxidative damage while concurrently generating more free radicals through standard metabolism. Each of the endorsed nuts contains compounds that specifically counteract these age-related alterations. Walnuts supply ALA, which aids in preserving membrane integrity in neural cells. Pecans offer unique antioxidants that neutralize the specific free radicals most detrimental to brain tissue. Pistachios bolster vascular health, ensuring sufficient blood circulation to the brain, and pine nuts deliver anti-inflammatory compounds that assist in managing the neuroinflammation that quickens cognitive decline. A worldwide view. It's compelling to note that cultures with traditionally low incidences of cognitive decline frequently incorporate these specific nuts into their customary diets. Mediterranean populations, where walnut intake is among the highest globally, exhibit remarkable cognitive fortitude into advanced age. Certain areas in China, where pine nuts have been esteemed as longevity enhancers, for centuries display similar trends of preserved cognitive ability. Indigenous groups in North America who traditionally consumed pecans regularly have historical records of elders maintaining exceptional mental sharpness well into their later years. These observations from very traditional cultures offer real-world substantiation for what controlled research is now corroborating, that particular foods can significantly shape cognitive pathways in aging demographics. While association does not confirm causation, these consistent trends across diverse genetic backgrounds suggest something fundamentally protective about these specific dietary components, something contemporary science is only now beginning to fully grasp. Everyday application. Let me suggest some practical methods for integrating these brain-enhancing nuts into your daily life beyond the morning practice I detailed earlier. For those not fond of yogurt, the groundnut blend can be incorporated into a morning smoothie with berries, themselves potent brain nourishers, and a plant-based milk like almond or oat beverage. Another alternative is to mix the ground nuts into hot cereal along with cinnamon and perhaps some blueberries for added cognitive advantages. For lunch, a tablespoon or two of the mixture can be scattered over salads, contributing not only brain nutrition but also a pleasing texture and flavor boost. Some seniors find it useful to prepare a weekly supply of energy bites, combining the ground nuts with a bit of honey, cinnamon, and perhaps dried cherries or blueberries, forming convenient, portion-sized brain fuel they can enjoy as snacks. The objective is to discover preparations that are both enjoyable and manageable, as regularity yields the most significant rewards. Even the most wholesome foods offer little benefit if they go uneaten due to unpalatable taste or difficult preparation. A comprehensive outlook. While our main topic today has been nuts, it would be an oversight not to situate these recommendations within the wider framework of brain-healthy practices. The advantages of these nuts are magnified when integrated with other aspects of a neuroprotective lifestyle, consistent physical exercise that boosts blood flow to the brain, restorative sleep that permits essential neural upkeep and memory consolidation, stress reduction techniques that lessen cortisol's adverse impacts on brain structures, cognitive engagement through acquiring new abilities and tackling unfamiliar challenges, and social interaction that offers emotional solace and intricate interpersonal exchanges, exercising multiple brain areas concurrently. My father's extraordinary progress stemmed not solely from altering his nut consumption, but from embedding those nutritional adjustments within a holistic approach to brain wellness that encompassed all these elements. The nuts furnished vital building materials, but the comprehensive lifestyle strategy established the conditions for his brain to utilize those nutrients most effectively. Journeying ahead, as you contemplate adopting these suggestions, I recommend a patient, observant mindset. Cognitive wellness typically does not transform instantly. Just as deterioration usually occurs slowly, improvements generally manifest over weeks and months, not days. Maintain a straightforward log noting alterations in specific cognitive aspects: ability to recall names or words, navigational abilities, attention span, mental energy, mood consistency, and sleep patterns, which often enhance alongside cognitive function. These notes offer valuable insights into what is effective and what might require modification. For some older adults, the complete protocol I've outlined yields noticeable advantages within weeks. For others with more established cognitive difficulties, it might take 3 to 6 months before significant progress becomes evident. Factors influencing response duration include current nutritional condition, overall health status, medication interactions, gut health and absorption capacity, and the length and intensity of cognitive issues before intervention. Patience and tenacity are crucial companions on this path. The power of truth. As we near our conclusion, I wish to impart perhaps the most critical insight gleaned from my family's experience with cognitive decline and recovery. Personal control exists even in areas where we've been led to believe it doesn't. The dominant narrative surrounding brain aging, that decline is unavoidable and largely beyond treatment, functions as a self-fulfilling prophecy for millions of seniors who resign themselves to diminishing capabilities as their inevitable lot. This narrative endures not due to its scientific backing, but because it suits systems ill-equipped to champion cognitive optimization in our aging demographic. The reality is far more uplifting. While we cannot govern all facets of brain aging, we wield considerable influence over many elements that shape cognitive trajectories. An act as simple as consciously choosing which nuts to include or exclude from your daily diet can trigger biochemical sequences with profound impacts on brain performance. My father's story is not extraordinary or unique. It merely illustrates what becomes achievable when we discard fatalistic views about aging and instead make knowledgeable, deliberate choices grounded in emerging science coupled with traditional wisdom regarding nourishing the aging brain. Concluding reflection. Let me offer this final consideration, one that fundamentally reshaped my perspective on aging and cognitive wellness. The human brain, irrespective of age, stays remarkably receptive to our treatment of it. Until my father's final moments, his neural pathways will persistently adapt, forge new links, and react to the stimuli he offers, whether those stimuli nurture or impair his cognitive capacity. The same holds true for each of us and for every senior we cherish. This malleable, adaptive characteristic of our brains never entirely vanishes, though it may necessitate more precise, unwavering support as we mature. The 4 nuts to be wary of: cashews, peanuts, excessive Brazil nuts, and non-organic almonds can impose inflammatory and toxic stresses that hasten cognitive deterioration. The 4 nuts to welcome: walnuts, pecans, pistachios, and pine nuts deliver specific compounds that bolster neural health, lessen inflammation, shield against oxidative harm, and encourage healthy blood circulation to the brain. This understanding isn't merely intriguing data, it's a potent instrument for anyone aiming to preserve or enhance cognitive function in their later years. Our consistent daily actions gradually sculpt our brain health destiny. Every morning when my father readies his nut blend, he isn't merely preparing a meal. He's making a decision about the kind of mental acuity he'll possess tomorrow, next year, and in the years ahead. You possess that identical choice at this very moment. What path will you select? Final word: before you depart, I want you to genuinely recognize the influence you wield. Cognitive decline is not a predetermined fate. It's a journey shaped by innumerable daily decisions, including potent nutritional selections like those we've discussed. If you or someone dear to you is apprehensive about brain wellness with aging, recall that action surpasses information invariably. Don't merely watch this and proceed. Initiate one tangible step today, even if it's as elementary as clearing cashews from your cupboard or incorporating about 7 walnuts into tomorrow's breakfast. The path of cognitive restoration and safeguarding unfolds one day, one meal, one nut at a time. Your brain attentively registers every choice you make. Opt to nourish it purposefully, consistently, and with the specific sustenance it most requires as you age. The distinction between cognitive difficulty and cognitive lucidity frequently hinges on these seemingly minor, yet biochemically impactful choices. Your future self is being forged by your current endeavors. Choose judiciously with the insight you now possess.